My guest today is music composer Josh Cavazos, and at the age of 15, he began composing music in response to his grandmother undergoing successful cancer treatment and has since written, arranged, and produced countless pieces throughout his career. Now, Josh owns and operates a recording studio out of his home where he is frequently called upon to produce and score music in styles such as cinematic, modern pop, orchestral, and even contemporary worship. And in the fall of 2024, Josh scored a national public service announcement for USAA and Lockheed Martin's Face the Fight Together campaign. And the PSA aired on NBC Universal and Fox in 2024. And he also co-composed for the new season of Tetelestai, a Brazil-based Christian multimedia series. Now, Josh was recently awarded the Artist Grant by the city of San Antonio to produce and compose the score to Prayers for Cassie, a mini documentary that will benefit cancer therapy. And the documentary is a collaboration between Josh's team, the American Cancer Society, Dear Jack Foundation, and Hearts Need Art. And it features a duet performance between Josh and world-renowned Tina Guo, a solo cellist to Hans Zimmer. So let's welcome music composer and film director Josh Cavazos and his film documentary, Prayers for Cassie, to the show. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you so much, Ward. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You and I have followed each other on social media for quite a while now, and it is an absolute honor to finally have you on the program. And I always watch and mostly listen to many of your music pieces, which are absolutely stunning, but also very beautiful. So how old were you when you started to learn and play music?
Well, thank you. And so I started taking lessons when I was 7 years old. And the story that's just vividly embedded in my memory is my dad was driving me to a birthday party, and I happened to hear Chopin's Revolutionary Etude that came on the radio. And it was like it just struck me. And as a little kid, I told my dad, I was like, Dad, what is this? And he's like, oh, this is Chopin's Revolutionary Etude piano solo. And I just told him, I have to learn how to do that someday. And he was like, okay, well, let's get you started with some lessons. So I'm grateful for a dad that recognized that interest in his son and said, okay, let's get started with this. So I started when I was second grade, stuck with lessons. I started improvising around sixth grade or so, and composing there at age of 15, as you mentioned, in response to my grandmother undergoing successful cancer treatment. And it's been a lifelong pursuit and a lifelong journey for me.
So you were in a household where classical music was played?
I was, yes, thankfully. So my dad is a guitarist, vocalist, music educator, retired music educator, music minister. So thankfully, we always had music growing up. It was always in the household. There's classical music playing, there's church music playing, there's symphonic music playing. And so thankfully, we just kind of grew up with music in the household. My parents are also songwriters. And so it was just kind of a natural part of our upbringing. We'd hear mom and dad working on a song and, listening to classical music. And it's just like, it was looking back on it, just really grateful for that experience that kind of helped me to become interested in it as well, and really kind of recognize, oh, you know what, I'd really like to do something with this.
Well, how in the world did you learn how to compose? Was it by just watching what your parents were doing? I guess you were probably very intuitive and probably asked many questions that when a particular piece came on, you probably wanted to know how it was put together.
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I can remember kind of early on, again, probably sixth grade or so, seventh grade, again, kind of another vivid experience. So I had improvised a little bit. I remember Dad inviting me, saying, "Hey, why don't you come and sit in, on the church service on Saturday evenings? Just sit in, kind of improvise a little bit." And I kind of got my start with that. And then I believe it was seventh grade, and my parents, it was this kind of natural progression, right? I started off with like a 61 key keyboard, and I went to a 77 key keyboard the next year, and then eventually get to a full size keyboard. So again, about seventh grade, my parents made the investment, got an upright piano, and so I still remember the day that the upright piano was brought home, and I sat down. I was like, I'm just gonna kind of try this out and turn on the radio. And I guess it was the classical training mixed with music, being around the household, mixed with kind of that little bit of improv that I was getting to do on Saturday nights for church services. But I turned on the radio and I just kind of had the knack for, oh, let me kind of, oh, I can play along. I know how to play this song. I can kind of, okay, I can kind of play this one too. And so I guess it was just kind of those, all those experiences kind of led me to sit down and just kind of see that I had that natural gifting for listening to music, being able to improvise with it. And I think learning those structures, chord structures, oh, this is what pop songs are doing, this is what rock songs are doing, this is what classical and church music, learning those kind of structures, then I kind of had, I guess, kind of a basis for, well, now how do I express myself through music? How do I compose? How do I, maybe I can kind of, you know, try to put in my own voice, my own melodic voice, my own harmonic voice, with all of these influences that I've kind of picked up along the way.
I love that. I've seen your videos. I've watched you play and listen to your music, and there's just an anointing on you when it comes
Oh, thank you.
to your gifts, talents, and abilities in this area of music. How did you get into scoring films and even commercials?
Yeah, so I guess it was around 2017 or so. I really started to, this is coming out of my master's program at Texas State for composition. And I really had this interest in composing to media, composing to film. And so, and I, now having the training then for symphonic music and plus all of the piano training. And so I just started to kind of ask around the circles that I knew and just kind of share with people what I was doing and what I wanted to do, and started just kind of diving headfirst in to just let me see what I can do just on my own. And so I would download from like QTube, just little examples. Oh, let me see what I can do with this, and started off with just kind of an assortment of libraries, and let's see what I can do with this, see what I can do with that. And then, a couple years later, I started entering into film competitions. And again, sharing the work, I would kind of, compose, share what I was doing, and then happened to share with a friend of mine. I had sent him an email, said, "Hey, I just wanted to share this with you. I'd done a track for him, produced a music track a couple years before that." And he said, "Hey, this is really interesting that you're contacting me. I really would like to do a short series, independent series. We're looking at doing like 12 episodes, 5 minutes each. I would really love for you to do the score. What you're sending me is really kind of the aesthetic of what I'm looking for." And so that was a friend of mine. And so I said, okay, that sounds great. So we met and had coffee and ended up, I scored his independent series, 12 episodes. And so then what ended up occurring was he introduced me to the folks at Tetelestai. And so we had a chance to collaborate with them. That was another 27 episodes. And so it was really kind of a journey, starting with that, film scoring competitions, getting into that, sharing my work, and again, my friend, asking me to score his series, and then collaborating with Satellistai.
Yeah, when you, I think was it earlier this year or was it later last year, you had posted, I guess it was the soundtrack to Telestai. And
Yes,
so
uh-huh.
so I went on Spotify, pulled up the whole album, and I literally will just sit here and listen to it. It is so beautiful. And ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
if you want to hear some incredible, just instrumental music that you could work by, relax by, pray by, it's Tetelestai. It's called Tetelestai The Journey. So if you want to look that up on Spotify or iTunes, and wow, Josh, I mean, even the other day I pulled it up just so I could listen to some of the tracks from it because you've just released this documentary that called Prayers for Cassie, and that is an incredible soundtrack on its own as well. For you
Thank
though,
you.
how did you first learn about the story of Cassie Martinez?
Yes, so Cassie's actually a former student of mine. So I taught her piano lessons. This is going back many, many years, 2008, 2009. And so yeah, I taught her piano lessons for a couple years and then stayed in touch with the family. And then I was finishing up my graduate program at Texas State in 2016, and I was contacted by the family, and they were letting me know about Cassie's diagnosis. So she had just gotten diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2016, and then she went on to do 3 years of treatment. But there's a church here in San Antonio called Trinity Baptist who was doing a benefit concert, and just inviting people from the community, people that knew the family, to see if they wanted to be a part of it. And so the family asked me if I would play for it. I said I would love to, and I said, myself being a composer, would you mind if I compose something for the event? And they said, yes, we would love for you to. So in 2017, I composed Prayers for Cassie. And so I played the solo piano part for Cassie, presented her with the score, the piano score. That was 2017. And then in 2019, Cassie invited friends and family to her end of chemo party. And so we're all, just attending that, hearing her talk about her experience, hearing her share about what she went through. And I was just so moved by that I talked to Cassie afterwards and I said, if we ever have the opportunity to share your story on a larger scale, maybe on a documentary format, maybe we have the opportunity to record the piano piece and the cello duet, because I already had the cello mapped out, had the cello part composed, piano part composed. And I said, if we ever have that opportunity, would you ever be interested in just sharing it on a larger scale with the goal of encouraging others who are going through cancer and just trying to create an anthem of hope, a documentary of hope for those that are going through it? And she said, absolutely. And so that was 2019. So as you can see, the story just kind of goes back many years, but really kind of each step to it took place over many years. So 2020, Cassie sends me like just a rough little kind of 5, 6 minute documentation. This is over COVID times, just of her story. I said, "Hey, this is great. Let's continue to just brainstorm about it." And then thankfully, 2023, the city of San Antonio, they awarded me an artist grant to actually produce the documentary and compose the score to it, and ended up getting to embark on that path, which has been just amazing. So we're so thankful that we're finally now getting to share Cassie's the documentary of hope, the anthem of hope that we kind of dreamed about those many, many years ago.
Well, you are a music composer. Do you feel like now that you want to step in a little bit into filmmaking, or is it just for this project alone?
That's a great question. So, When the grant was awarded, it was like, okay, let me reach out and let's start to form a team. And so got my great friend Izzy Hernandez to be associate producer, and we got my great friend DJ Fellows to be the director. And so we started working together and started collaborating with ideas. But I got to tell you, I really enjoy. I've really enjoyed both being on the producer end of things and on the composer end. I feel like grateful for both experiences in the past. When you're in the composer seat, you're given the files and you meet with the directors and producers, and so the vision, that part of the vision has kind of taken shape, and you're aligning to that vision, and that's a great experience. But this is the first time I've actually gotten to be on the end of, okay, I'm kind of in on that brainstorming too, the producer end of things, the storyline, how this sequence gets here, and it was just a really cool experience because as I'm having those conversations with DJ, our director, I'm actually kind of brainstorming musically what could be happening too. And there again too, we're having conversations about, hey, he's thinking about doing a little edit here and bringing us to there. I'm going, okay, thinking in the back of my mind, okay, so now the score will kind of do this. And so it was a really cool bridge, I guess, wearing both hats, the producer and the composer end. So I would be open to it, to doing more on the producer end and the composer end. Grateful for the opportunity to get to do both. On this project, and yeah, definitely open to more experiences like that in the future.
Well, it's a great documentary to watch. I know that you had
Thank you.
Cassie's parents and you had her twin sister. You had others in this film bringing this whole story to life. And I'm an identical twin. A lot of people don't know that. And so so when I'm watching this, I was like, oh, wow, what is that like to have your sibling see you going through this? Because when I was watching it, I'm like, did they check her sister,
Mm,
during this process? Because I was kind of wondering, about the non-Hodgkins that Cassie was going through. But what a strong young woman. But at the same time, she was very honest and truthful about all of the things
mhm.
that she went through mentally and physically, and missing out on some of those areas, especially when she was ready to go to college.
Mhm. Yeah, it was really interesting hearing about the story. She really opened up and shared quite a bit with us, just in what she went through. And in some of those early conversations, she was very uh, just adamant about, she just wants to keep this as genuine, as authentic, raw, as she can, just sharing her experience. And so we were grateful for that. But some of those moments just really struck us, especially just hearing about, she had packed her bags, she was on her way to college, she had gotten there, and then getting the news, having to turn right around and come home. And then the next week she's in chemo. I mean, it's just hearing things like that, you can't even really fathom. And yet here's Cassie just with ultra this bravery that she's bringing to the documentary, and just allowing us the opportunity to hear that story, this amazing story that we're just hoping will inspire lots of people with hope and connection. There's many people out there going through it. And so we're just grateful that she was so honest and transparent with us, didn't sugarcoat the journey at all, just as raw and as honest as she could be. And we're just hoping that resonates with hope with a lot of people, and helps a lot of folks out there.
It will, because it is an inspiring documentary to watch. What lessons did
Thank
you
you.
learn from Cassie about life in general?
Gosh, yeah, there's so many just in the production process and post production. But I feel like one of the things that she talks about towards the end was, you learn to live life differently. You learn to kind of exist in the moment a lot more purposefully than you did before. She makes mention of you want to spend more time with family. You're grateful for these kind of snapshot moments that happen. Whereas maybe if you didn't have this experience before or just a life changing experience, maybe those moments would kind of pass you by, and you think about them occasionally in the future, or maybe you don't. But having a life changing moment like this, experience like this, you have that awareness, you have that gratitude when you experience moments that bring you joy and moments that are just interesting moments through the day. You kind of carry that gratitude with you. And so I was really, really moved by that. So is the team. So yeah, we're grateful for everything that we've learned from Cassie in this journey.
So, what kind of feedback have you received from those who have actually seen the documentary Prayers for Cassie?
Yeah, so we're grateful getting some great feedback from people, and I think one of the things that really resonated with me at the premiere we had in San Antonio several weeks ago, and so there were actually probably a dozen or so cancer survivors and people who are going through cancer that attended, and getting to see that connection piece happen was really special for us. So them seeing the documentary at the premiere, connecting with Cassie, her answering questions, so that's been really cool for us. And we had the feedback afterwards, people telling us like, we're so glad that you guys put this together. This is really moving. We can't wait to share it when it comes out. And so it's I think for us it was getting to see that connection, which is the mission of the documentary, the hope and connection. Getting to see that begin to take shape was really really special for us. So we hope to continue to hear those stories on into the future.
Yeah, I think this film is going to help those that are going through the cancer battle now. It'll even help their families because Cassie was very open and honest, like you said, very raw to let everyone know, the thoughts that she would have, going through the treatment and letting people know what it's truly like and not really she didn't sugarcoat it at all. And I think a lot of people will learn from that. I even think family and friends will learn. I think one of the biggest learning experiences for most is even though you may know someone or someone close to you that has cancer, the best thing for you to do is just be there. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of people don't exactly know what to do, so they feel uneasy. Some people they kind of stop coming around, but really it's just your presence is the only thing that truly matters to them. And I think this film emphasizes that point. And you also brought up too, Cassie now sees life differently. And by hearing her talk about that, like those little moments that we just kind of discounted, but now they mean so much more. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of us need to have that. I guess that vision of life to take every moment as it comes and enjoy the moment and just don't let the little things pass us by because they probably should mean a lot more to us and we shouldn't be taking life for granted.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we definitely live in an age where there's so many distractions. Everything is kind of competing for our attention, right? There's the things that we need to give attention to, and but you just in a world that can be very distracting, and it's those little reminders again, just being present and being grateful for those things that happen in the day, those things that bring you joy, bring you laughter, those family moments, the things that Cassie is sharing that just those are just huge truths that just resonate with us. And to your point, the being there with when folks are going through treatments, another huge thing that we learned from Cassie was just now her being on the other side of that and just imparting that that's so important just to don't don't just go, well, let me kind of visit them when they come home, in a couple years or a couple months, whatever it ends up being, but just be present and check up on those loved ones. Send them a text, go see them, go care for them. That's what happens. Just your presence being there. You don't have to say anything necessarily that's gonna. You can't fix it. You can't fix the situation in the present, but just being there with them was a huge lesson that we learned.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, did you already have the full did you already have the music fully composed, or did you have to well, I guess maybe add pieces to compose for the full documentary?
So for the scoring of the documentary, so that was that was all after the fact. So we had did the filming. DJ would produce a rough cut for us, and then I would kind of sit with it and kind of score different pieces of it. So all of the scoring for the actual the filming of the documentary, that was all after the fact, working with picture. And of course, the music video, or I'm sorry, the Prayers for Cassie duet piece, that was composed beforehand. But that was the only piece that was composed before the production.
So when you sit down and you see a film and you're going to sit down and to compose the music for the film, what's the process like?
Yeah, so for me, I always I'll take the video and I'll sit at the piano with it and I'll just watch it and just try to get a sense of what is the pacing, what is the mood, what is the emotional content that's being demonstrated here. What can I do to support what's already happening? And so for me, it will typically begin there at the piano, and then I'll tend to kind of brainstorm there, and then I'll kind of subconsciously take the brainstorm with me. I'll, from there, if it's a moment of, okay, I need to work on this, this week, I'll start there. And then, I'm a runner as well. So I'll tend to, run in the neighborhood and have it, maybe I'll have it playing in the background, or just, kind of be thinking about it on the run. And then I'll tend to come back with ideas. So for me, it's kind of a mix of that, sitting at the piano, of ruminating with it. And then once I feel like I have a good brainstorm for kind of what's occurring, how can I support it, then I'll come into the studio and start to experiment with different sounds, instrumentation, and try to find the sonic identity of what that film or that section is supposed to be.
Well, I want to know, how in the world did you team up with Tina Guo, the solo cellist? She is world renowned, ladies and gentlemen. She is so world renowned that she has played on just about every single blockbuster in film for at least the last 10 years, maybe even longer. How did you meet up with Tina?
Yeah, so super grateful that this experience happened to have Tina on the duet, and so basically we had formed the production team for Prayers for Cassie. We started to have meetings about what we wanted to do with the documentary, but then there was this element of, okay, we have the duet piece. I've produced this accompaniment, and using Spitfire instrumentation, and just really happy with that. But it's a duet piece. It's a duet plus full orchestra. So I really was kind of brainstorming, going, who can I ask? Who can I reach out to play? And I was trying to think in terms of who is an amazing, wonderful player, but also has a connection to stories, to media, who really has that aspect. And it's a dramatic piece, it's an emotional piece. So I was really, looking for someone who would be able to help to tell the story with this duet piece. And so I told my wife, I said, I can think of one person that I'd like to ask. And I told her about Tina, and she's like, "Oh, that would be amazing." And she said, "You might want to think of like some other options too, just in case you don't hear back, or just in case." I said, "Yeah, okay, that's a good idea." So then, the next day comes, and my wife says, "Did you think of some other options?" I showed her the piece of paper with the one name on it. I was like, I'm still thinking of just the one." And so in my estimation, I thought, let me just reach out. I'm just going to see if this is see if I hear back. And so I emailed Tina's office, let her know what we were doing, the mission behind it, the artist grant, and then let her gave her the track to see, the score, and so thankfully I heard back a couple days later from her personal email, and she said that she loved the piece, she loved the mission behind it, and wanted to be a part of it. So it was such a moving experience for me to again thinking all those years before, thinking about this mission of hope piece that maybe one day it'll see the light of day, maybe someday we'll get to record it, just having those conversations with Cassie, and then world renowned cellist, who's an amazing person as well, just a wonderful friend, and now collaborator, that recorded on this as well. So we're so grateful for her involvement, and just her uh, just elevating this piece, and really making it the anthem of hope that we were dreaming it could be.
Well, the piece is absolutely fantastic.
Thank
Tina
you.
performs with such intensity and emotion because I went and watched some of her other videos, and you're just sitting there like, wow. And because she can play anything,
Hmm.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you look her up, you'll see that she's played, for the movie Dune and Dune 2, and the list just goes on and on and on. I mean, you will be shocked that every blockbuster movie you've ever seen, she had her hand on the music. And how did you get the music video filmed? Because it that alone is beautiful to watch because it's at the end of the
Thank you.
documentary.
Thank you. Yes. So basically, it's so cool how the process worked. So we were working on the documentary, and we had this produced piece that I had done, Prayers for Cassie. But then there came the element of, well, we'd really like to see a music video of this. We'd like for one to lead into the other, right? We'd like for the documentary to lead into the music video piece, because for us that was the culmination of hope. That was the anthem. This is Cassie's journey. This is this arduous path that she walked, and then just the hope that we were inspired by for the music. And so what we ended up doing was, Tina recorded her cello a year and a half ago in the fall, and then a little over a year ago, last January, we flew out to Bel Air, and Tina had helped us with coordinating the venue, which was a beautiful, beautiful castle there in Bel Air, with an amazing piano, and this just picturesque room. And it just seeing it, to me, it looks like how we wanted the piece to be, which is just this kind of timeless, grand piece that's this anthem of hope. And so we filmed the documentary. A great friend of ours, Joel Moody, came out to film it. Did an amazing job, and so we're just so thrilled that now that music video then is on the end of the documentary. Again, one leading to the other, and the my thinking on this, and this was kind of early on when we knew there was going to be a music video in a documentary, and it was just kind of the thinking of, how can we make this to where it's accessible to everybody? It's there online. If you're a patient going through it, you have it right there with you. If you've been through it before, you have this as that hope and connection piece. And just, if you happen to be going through something that's a challenge, that's a struggle, maybe it is cancer, maybe it's something else, but for us, it was just this anthem of hope, this this mission of conquering what you're going through, so the kind of the mountains and the struggles that you may walk through. So yeah, we're super thankful and super grateful that it all came together.
Yeah, it's, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute beautiful piece, but it is an amazing music video to watch because all you're going to see is Josh and Tina play. But there is that in it a little bit of the orchestra as well, accompanying both of you. But what I love about the music video is you're so focused on both of you and the way that you play. It just comes out so beautiful from beginning to end. Now, where can everybody see Prayers for Cassie, and what are the future plans for the documentary?
Well, thank you. So it's on YouTube. We have the official documentary, Prayers for Cassie, on my YouTube channel. We also have the music video by itself on my YouTube channel as well. So both of those are easily accessible on YouTube. And so, yeah, we have some plans, some goals for the documentary. Very interested in potentially finding a distributor for it so that that can just reach more people for the cause. Still interested in potential of maybe select film festivals. We're talking to some nonprofits right now about potentially maybe the potential performances and or presentations of the documentary as well. So yeah, we're just kind of investigating all of those different options and excited to share it with as many people as we can.
Well, I am going to be praying for great success for this film, Prayers for Cassie, and
Thank
to
you.
have it just spread throughout the land and bless a lot of people out there. Now, for you, what is your favorite film score of all time and why?
Oh man, that's a great question. So many favorites. I would probably have to say, yeah, I grew up being struck by the majestic beauty of John Williams film scores. So I can remember, vividly hearing and watching Jurassic Park for the first time, as well as Indiana Jones for the first time. But those two in particular would probably be favorites that I can just vividly remember. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Hearing this music and seeing these visuals, it just the combination of the two is just you just can't really have words for it.
Oh,
So those
yeah.
would probably be my two favorites.
I love that. I love that. Now, are you working on anything new now?
So let's see. There's a potential feature film. I can't say exactly what it is today, but I've been asked to do. So we're kind of waiting on several things to come through. So that is a potential in the works for this year. And then hope to work on some more solo music as well. So I'll be kind of hopefully doing a mix of both and open to future projects as well. That now that we just finished with Prayers for Cassie, so hoping to do a lot more film scoring in the future.
I love that. I love that. And look, ladies and gentlemen, composer Josh Cavazos is inspired by large scale ideas and global relief efforts that are most dear to him. Now, his goal is to provide a musical outlet for peace and joy to the world around him through custom scoring, music production, and independent compositions. His film documentary, Prayers for Cassie, is inspiring. And according to the American Cancer Society, almost 1,700 people die of cancer every day. This film shows us the battle these courageous people go through, the hidden fear, pain, and putting on a mask so those around them will not feel uneasy. And there are days when they are strong, and there are days when they are weak. Now, if you have friends or a family member who has cancer, the best thing you can do for them is just be there. You can't solve the problem. You can definitely pray for them, but just being in their presence is the greatest gift to them. Even in times when you may not know what to do or say, but again, your presence means more to them than you'll ever know. Now, Josh, I want to thank you so much for sharing your film and your music with us today.
Thank you so much, Ward. It's been just an absolute honor to spend this time with you. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And I want to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching and listening. Oh, and Josh, where can all of my viewers and listeners learn more about you?
Well, thank you. So I have a website, joshcavazos.com. So more about me there, biography, portfolio, works. And then also we just built a brand new Prayers for Cassie website. So there's more information there as well about that particular project and bios and more information there as well. And of course, you can find
Fantastic.
me Instagram and Facebook and all the socials as well, and YouTube.
Well, that's it. Now, your domain for your personal website is,
joshcavazos.com
and for Prayers for Cassie?
is prayersforcassie.com.
Ah, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see it at the bottom of your screen, joshcavazos.com and prayersforcassie.com. Check both sites out. And when you have the time, watch the documentary and wait till the end because you're going to see an absolute beautiful performance with Josh as well as Tina Grau. I hope I said that right. And you will be absolutely blessed by such an incredible performance as well as the music. And again, I want to thank all of you for watching and listening. Be sure to visit bondoncinema.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as for me, you're either going to see me at the movies or from the red carpet.